Howdy, I'm Jason Lewis, and today we're actually inside the Autoedit garage working on the 73 Mustang we've been calling Large Marge, and we're going to do an install of the shock tower export brace. Now this is made by Total Control Products, and it's a really handsome kit. It's one of the better ones I've seen on the market. So I'm going to bring you in, I'll run you through some of the parts that we're about to install, we'll get it installed, and then I'll catch you up on a lot of the things that I've done to the Mustang over the last month or so, and show you how close we are to getting it started. This export brace is just part of the complete shock tower bracing system from Total Control Products. I have a few obstacles in my way that will need to be dealt with before installing the rest of the kit, but this alone is a huge improvement over the stock steel piece by being both lighter and stronger. The metal brackets and bracing rods are machined from 6061 aluminum and clear anodized to look good for the long haul. Rod end bearings offer adjustability, and all the hardware you'll need comes in the kit. So the Mustang already has a Total Control Products coilover conversion kit on the front of this thing. So you have this mount right here. Now on a stock Mustang, you would just have the upper shock mount. And so this plate would just mount underneath that, and then you would bolt this right back on. Now since this vehicle already has the coilover kit on it, you would actually have to jack it up, pull the shock mount off, and put this in, and you have a choice here. You could either put this plate underneath the shock mount or on top of it. And I chose to put it underneath it. It will actually lower the vehicle just a tiny bit because of this difference in mounting height. It's kind of something that I'm fully okay with on this car. We're going to slam it down. This thing's going to be an absolute blast to drive. Now these plates right here actually help tie in an entire kit from Total Control Products that will actually incorporate the entire, they have the Monte Carlo Bar, trusses that go to that, plus the shock tower export brace, which goes up to the firewall here. So we're going to do that eventually. I have a bit of other stuff in the way that's going to make that a little tricky, so I'll figure that out later. But for now, we're going to get this thing done, and for a lot of you guys with older Mustangs that have that stamped steel one, this is a pretty huge improvement, plus it's really cool looking, and it frees up a little bit more room since it's not this big giant stamped steel piece. So for the firewall mount, you have a couple of different options for the installation here. Now you can go underneath this pinch seam here or over top of it. Now the underneath seems like that's where I would want it, but there is this hole here that I'm going to actually use for my fuel injection wiring harness to go right through into the firewall, and that's just a really convenient place for that. So I'm going to keep that, and if you had a stock vehicle, you'll probably already have a wiring harness there, so you don't want to mess that up. So I'm going to try it on top, and so that's where that's going to end up. And so all you do is basically, the way this is designed is that this hole is basically center of your firewall, and so all I did was measure across, get the halfway mark, which was roughly 23.5. And so I marked that. So you'll notice that once you get this thing in place, it doesn't actually sit quite right because there's this lip here during the pinch seam. So what I did is just dollied that thing smooth where that thing sits. And that was just a matter of just using a hammer and a dolly and hammering that down. It really didn't take that much effort at all. And so that's what I did there. And then just drilled these holes to match this thing. And then that's it. I'm going to install it there. Now before you install this, and after you drill the holes, it's always good to, I like to paint any bare metal. So I went ahead and did that. So let's go ahead and just install this thing now. There's a backing plate that goes on the back of that, obviously. And then you just, and the good thing about mounting this up here is that you have plenty of access to behind this thing. If you're going to mount this down here, you're going to have to drill. You just have to make sure there's nothing behind that. Now it's a simple matter of getting the hardware in place and tightening it all down. I started with the bolts in the center and worked my way out from there. Now that's it for the heavy lifting on this install. Now let me show you the rods that will connect the two. So the braces are pretty straightforward. They're just an aluminum tube with rod end bearings on either end and one with a reversed thread, so you can actually adjust them once they're on the car. Now I just have You want to make sure that you use a little bit of anti-seize before you put these inside here, so you make sure that you have a little bit of that. And then I just went ahead and assembled them, and you have a right-hand thread and a left-hand thread, and there's a little knurled end here, and I'm going to go ahead and put those. They recommend that you have those up towards the firewall. So we're going to just go ahead and go get these installed. Get our braces in place. Finger tight that one. And then I went ahead and, just because I'm attention to detail kind of guy, I have these started off in an even distance from the end of the rods on both ends. And now I can just spin that and adjust that to where I would like that. So you can get this in, and then you can tighten all of this stuff up when you're done. So go ahead and put this in place. I'm going to go ahead and put a quick tighten on that. And likewise on this side, you just throw that in, make sure you got your knurled side here. And that just slots right in there. And likewise, you just adjust. And that's one of the cool things about having reverse threads on one side, is that you can do all of these adjustments on the fly. You don't have to take one end off to do it. I think we'll go with this for now. I think I heard it hit ground. It's the farthest it could possibly be. How many times do you guys do that when you're working on your car? Luckily, it didn't bounce off the toe of my boot and shoot into the corner of the garage, but I had that happen a lot. I don't know about you guys. Okay. We'll go ahead and tighten this down. And then we'll tighten down this one. And keep our alignment. A little wrench here. Okay. It's nice and tight. Our alignment looks good. Our rod end bearing moves freely inside there. We like that. Let's tighten up our last bolt here. And that's it for the export brace install. And so now you can see I can adjust that. Some people like to put preload on that. I don't. I'm going to have it so it's just nice and relaxed in there. And that's one of the beauties of having that adjustment. And so that's it. So now you can see you have your shock towers now tied back into the firewall with this beefy piece right here. And then the future install I will do will be the Monte Carlo bar that goes across the front and keeps the front of the car stabilized. And then there are struts that go from here to the Monte Carlo bar. So you have this entire thing tied together and adding all of that extra structure to the front of your rig. But let me show you what's going on in the front of this one that will prevent me from doing that. Yay, that thing looks good. And so if I were finishing off this kit today, I would be installing this Monte Carlo bar that goes across here. I always wonder why they call that, but that would go here. But of course, I have this awesome supercharger in the way. So I'm going to have to get creative, maybe figure out a way to get this stuffed through there. I'm not exactly sure, but as you guys know, when you're building a hot rod with a bunch of parts that were never meant to go together, there's going to be challenges. But, so that's in the works, coming up. But let me take you in here and show you where we're at. I'm getting closer all the time. I've been doing some work on it. The fuel system's done. Let me bring you into the back in a minute to show you that. I'm getting some of the final plumbing done. I'm starting to finally figure out the plumbing for the upper radiator hose. The easy way was to go over top of this thing. I didn't want to because I'm still trying to figure out a way to keep this thing under the hood. So that's kind of where I'm going with that thing. Just going to start buttoning that up. Got some heater hose. I have some little tidbits of plumbing I still need to do for the intake manifold, like for a boost reference, things like that. Just a million little things, but I'm just checking them off one by one off the list. So you can see the Total Control Products export brace has that perfect look and is hecking strong. Don't forget to tighten the jam nuts on the support rods. I still have some more work to do, so I'm leaving them loose for the time being. And now, here's a look at the next few big things going on the Mustang. Let's start off by heading inside the office. So that's the wiring harness. It's overwhelming, I know, looking, and it kind of is, but what you do is you just grab one wire at a time and just start running it. So yeah, so there's a lot of wiring, a lot of stuff to do, and there's a couple decisions I have to make in here. Maybe you guys can chime in on this. I have to figure out what I'm going to do for gauges. Either I'm going to do like Autometer or that style independent gauges, or I really like that Holley 7-inch LED readout screen where you can kind of program it into a different array of gauges. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. But so I have to decide that. And then, yeah, just start running wires, and let me show you the trunk. So another big thing for me was to get the finish off the gas tank install, so I went ahead and did a quick restore to that. And now I have a filler neck and all of that. So now this thing can actually hold gasoline, which is a big deal, and it has the fuel pump. Working on a battery tray to mount back in here, and that's about it back here. This is the Flowmaster 3-inch Mandrel-Bent kit. That stack of tubes will become exhaust for that car right there. It's going to be good. That's the Flowmaster X pipe right there. So definitely going to go X pipe, and then let me show you the cans that are going on here. Figured dual 3-inch Super 10s ought to do it on this thing. I don't want it to be quiet. This should be pretty beefy. So that's the plan at this point. I got some really sweet tips there that I'm hoping, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get the exhaust up through here. That's going to be a challenge, but we'll see. So there you go. That's the catch up on the Mustang. There's quite a bit getting done. There's still quite a bit left to do, but one thing at a time, and we'll keep checking stuff off the list, and this thing will be on the road, I'm hoping this summer. So we'll see. So that'll do it for this episode of the Autoedit Mustang saga. And until next time, enjoy your drive. Don't forget to follow me over there on Autoedit Jason at Instagram, and subscribe if you haven't to the YouTube channel. Give me a hand here, and see you next time.